So now I'm going to introduce you to database. And database is another way in which you store related data. And there are a few elements to this database. In a database, we can have tables. Tables would be the method by which you store that data. And then the tables have to be related to each other. They have to be connected in some way. So we're going to have relationships. Then there are forms, queries, and reports. These are the main elements that make up a database. Now let's look at each one a bit more, looking at the database process. Now to create a database, you need to have a topic, right? Whether it's about the school, whether it's about a store, inventory, you need to have a topic. And then you can store information on that topic. That's your database. Now, to store that data, as I said, you need a table. And what is a table made up of? If you think of a table is normally made up of rows and columns, but that first row has table headings. And all the data typed under one of those table headings, one column of data, right? One column of data is related to that table heading. So the first thing we need to do in a table is design the table structure or definition, which means we have to specify what our table headings are. In database, they're not called table headings, they're called field names. Next, we have to create the relationships. These tables are going to be connected in some way. So if I put data about school, we're going to have students, we could have parents. There's a connection between students and parents, obviously. A student will have a parent. A parent will have a child, right, which goes to school. So you can have a table called students and another second table called parents. And they will be connected through that student. So we'll look at an example later on. Let's continue the process. So we created our table design, our table definition or structure. Then we connected them through relationships. And now we have to go back to tables. Because we just created our table headings and connected them, but we didn't type any data in. So now we have to go back and create and enter data. Type all the data into our table. Then another element could be a form. A form is an alternative method to entering that data into the table. So I could enter it into a plain table, or I can use a form. And a form is just more attractive way of typing in the data. Think of a Google form or any kind of form you fill out on the internet compared to a basic normal table. You might rather a form. A form has colors and is structured in a certain way, might be more user friendly. Then we go to queries. A query is a question. A query is a question. So based on questions about the data, a query will select specific field names to answer those questions from particular tables. So it depends on the question that you want to answer, that you want answered. Then you will say which field names from which tables will provide that answer. For example, the student, you want a contact information for the parent. You don't want to go into the table and have to look through all the parent names to see who the parent is. You want that information to come up to you automatically or immediately. That's where a query comes in. Use a query to find the parent of a specific student, and the data comes up automatically or instantly. And our last one is a report. Any data that's displayed in the table or query can be printed, and a report just gives you a printable format. So it's a more presentable way of showing the data. And of course, the data can be printed. All right, so that's the introduction to database. We are going to start this database process. So I'm going to go through an example with you and also show you how to do a database using Microsoft Access and uh, LibreOffice Base. Those are the two programs I'm going to show you how to create a database with. Access, of course, you have to pay with Microsoft, comes with Microsoft Office, and LibreOffice Base is free. So I'm going to show you both.